So we'll be covering food and floriculture to Korea in this presentation. At Bryant Christie, we worked on a variety of programs, both in food and beverage, but also agriculture and also a floriculture project to South Korea, which KBSI has worked on as well. So our requirements apply to U.S. food and beverage and agriculture, but also as relevant, these would also apply to floricultural exports as well. The objectives of Bryant Christie's portion of this presentation is to really give you an overview of the technical market requirements, the tariff situation, kind of an overview of what's covered in KORUS, the U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement, and then also what's been happening since January with the new administration's trade policies. We'll cover import challenges and technical requirements, things to keep in mind as you prepare to ship. And then, as I said, my presentation will be followed by a presentation by KBSI on market opportunities. So I'll touch on demographics for a little bit. I don't want to duplicate what KBSI will present, but we wanted to lead off with an overview of the opportunity size. The population is 51.7 million people, but 82% of the population resides in urban areas, with major cities like Seoul, Incheon, and Busan continuing to grow. So that's where you'll see a lot of the retail sector, a modern retail sector, and really sophisticated distribution channels, which is ideal for imported food, beverage, and floricultural products. The median age is older compared to other developing economies in Asia, with 45 years old is the average median age of the mature and experienced consumer base. And the working age population is about 71% of individuals aged 15 to 64. So a substantial and productive workforce. Following up on that in terms of economic indicators, South Korea's GDP per capita is very high in Asia and exceeds Japan and far surpasses China, India, Vietnam. So although the GDP may not be as much of an output as China, for example, it does have a very high per capita, which is a good indicator for disposable incomes and a strong purchasing power of its population base. As a point of entry into Asia, it is in addition to the individual markets potential in Korea, it does serve as a regional hub for Northeast Asia, and a lot of the companies have influence and distribution throughout the region. So next I'll cover a tariff overview, and we'll first talk about the U.S.-Korea trade deal, which was signed in 2007 and implemented in 2012. And if you've been dealing with Korea over the past, not quite 15 years, but about 13 years, it's really been the trigger for economic and trade growth between the U.S. and Korea. The provisions eliminated 95% of tariffs on consumer and industrial products within 5 years. It improved access for U.S. farm products to the Korean market, including many commodities that are produced in the Western United States, and also established rules on intellectual property rights between both countries. Many say that the trade deal between U.S. and Korea was an ideal example of a bilateral trade agreement and has been attempted to be duplicated with other countries as well. Since January, we wanted to share an update on tariff updates and the situation since January. On April 2nd, the U.S. announced the reciprocal tariffs, imposing a 10% tariff on all imports, including from Korea, and an additional 25% on most Korean exports to the United States. On April 5th, a 10% minimum tariff on imports from all countries entered into force. April 16th, in response, South Korea pledged to enhance trade to the U.S. by $150 billion by 2030. And then on May 7th, technical discussions between the U.S. and Korea began, with July 8th set as a deadline for talks. So we're in the middle of that extension prior to the July 8th deadline. Next, I'll cover export challenges and technical requirements. MRLs and food safety regulations. There's been a lot of work done on the U.S. side on MRLs and harmonization with the U.S. and codex. MRLs are regulated under the South Korea's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, or MFDS. Korea maintains a positive list system, so only pesticides with established MRLs are permitted. If you participated in the Taiwan webinar a few weeks ago, this concept was introduced as well. Taiwan is another market with a positive list system. That means that Korea, in most cases, defers to its own list or a positive list rather than deferring to the international standard body Codex, which was originally intended to harmonize MRLs globally. So since Korea established their own positive list, and that technically went into effect January 1st, 2019, there was a negotiation for a 3-year grace period to allow for certain MRLs that were not established in the positive list system to be established, and it was finalized January 1, 2022. So in that 3-year period, many of us working on commodities and food exports to Korea were rushing to establish as many MRLs as possible to prohibit any trade barriers related to MRLs in Korea. It maintains national MRLs for each crop, leading to tolerance differences between Korean MRLs, Codex, or U.S. MRLs. In general, Korean MRLs are more restrictive than the U.S. and Codex, so it is very important when exporting for any of your products that are tested for MRLs that you are aware of the Korean positive list system and working with your importer to ensure compliance. Phytosanitary considerations, covering inspection and treatment. In terms of inspection, pre-border, so upon pre-arrival, they must undergo document and visual inspection at the port of entry before being permitted to enter. And quarantine applies to certain high-risk materials. So it's important to understand that potential delay if a quarantine is warranted. In terms of treatment, cold treatment must be applied to fruit, and methyl bromide fumigation is applied to grains, nuts, and certain fresh produce. Irradiation is allowed, an alternative treatment used on fruits and vegetables when permitted. Next, I'll cover certification requirements and the bodies that they're issued by. The NAQS Import Certificate in Organic Processed Food for organic processed foods is issued by the USDA accredited certifying agents via Korea's eNAQS system. Phytosanitary certificates for plant-based products are issued by APHIS, USDA APHIS, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Meat and Poultry Export Certificate of Wholesomeness for meat and poultry products are issued by USDA Food and Safety Inspection Service. Export Health Certificate are issued by the USDA Seafood Inspection Program. Facility registration for dairy products are issued by South Korea's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. And the hazard analysis and critical control point certification is mandatory for frozen food, processed fish products, and beverages. In terms of documentation, when exporting from the U.S., EI ACE filing is required, commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading, or AWARE bill, airway bill, shipper's letter of introduction, certificate of origin, and export permits or licenses are required. On the Korea import documentation, again, ensuring you work with your importer or distributor to ensure this is complete. Import declaration can be filed electronically and must include a commercial invoice, packing list, certificate of origin. And the import licenses and permits required are foreign food facility registration and importer business registration. Labeling requirements. In terms of language, all labels must be in Korean, and sticker labels are allowed, but must not be easily removed. For GE labeling, biotech labeling, raw materials and primary products from genetically engineered products must be labeled as such, and products made from GE ingredients must indicate as such on the ingredient list. This is an area of change and development and policy globally, and something to make sure you are aware of the up-to-date policies, not only in Korea, but other markets as well. Just a comment on GE labeling and requirements. In terms of allergen, they're required on all prepackaged foods containing specified allergens, and products at risk of cross-contamination must be labeled as such. Date marking, use by date labeling is required rather than sell by, and the year, month, date format is required. In terms of nutritional information, only required for specific food categories, and categories are laid out in the Korean Food Labeling and Advertising Act enforcement rules. So a good thing to check for any of your nutrition labels. Country of origin labeling, they're all food products sold at retail markets are required to have country of origin labeling. Packaging. So only approved packaging materials can be imported into Korea, and food contact materials must adhere to Korea's standards and specifications for utensils, containers, and packages. All food contact packaging made from recycled materials must receive MFDS approval prior to import, and facilities manufacturing food packaging intended for South Korea must register with MFDS as well. So at this point, I will pause and I will turn it over to Ms. Haiwan Shen, who will cover the market overview and opportunities from the Korea Business Services, KBSI.
Thank you, Alicia. Yes, I will share my screen before I start. Okay, can you see my first screen? Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar and your interest in the Korean market. I'm Haewon Shin from Korea Business Services, the in-market contractor for Korea, and I'm so excited to share with you an overview of opportunities for U.S. food and floriculture in the Korean market. Okay, we'll begin with an overview of the Korean consumers. Before we go, I will briefly cover the country profile of South Korea. Some of the information already covered by Ms. Alicia, but yeah, I just briefly introduced. South Korea is located in Northeast Asia, bordering China, Japan, and North Korea, and population is around 52 million people, and the currency is Korean won. And as mentioned above, Korea is the 13th largest economy globally and first largest in Asia by GDP. Korea economy is driven by global giant companies like Samsung, Hyundai, Kia, and SK. Also, Korea has a trade-oriented economy, and in 2024, exports reached $683 billion and imports at $631 billion. The country is one of the top trade countries in terms of the trade volume. Korea imported 44.7 billion of food items in last year in 2024. Okay, Korean consumers, we will summarize them into three main characteristics: urbanized, trendy, and fast and convenient. First, Korea is a highly urbanized country, so high population density in the major cities, and most of them are living at apartments. We have a very well developed public transportation, so 8.8 million people use the subway daily. And the living cost is very high, and standard of healthcare is also high. And second, Korean consumers are extremely trendy. They are enjoying all the digital life, and they are very tech savvy. And Korea is the global leader in the beauty and fashion industries. The influence of K-pop and K-drama is everywhere now, and high impact of social media influencers. Yeah, so social media is a key channel for PR right now. And diverse cuisines are available in the country. And finally, fast and convenient are very important for Korean consumers. So we haven't seen all the growth of e-commerce and same-day deliveries by e-commerce and app-based food delivery services are everywhere, and digital banking and mobile payments are available in the country. Yes, now let's take a look at some major social demographic changes in Korea that are shaping consumer behavior and market demand. First, Korea is facing an ongoing decline in birth rate. Actually, the birth rate in Korea is the lowest in the world. And second, we are seeing rapid growth in single person household. So as of 2022, nearly 9.7 million people live alone in Korea. This is nearly 40% of all households. And finally, Korea is quickly becoming a super aged society. The share of the population aged 65 and over is projected to rise from 17.5% in 2022 to nearly 40% by 2050. Let me briefly walk you through 4 key consumption trends shaping Korea's food and beverage market today. Number one, health and wellness for convenience. There's continued growth in the health and wellness segment, now a $9.5 billion market. Consumers want products that are both nutritious and easy to prepare. Number two, nutritional awareness and consumer behavior. Consumers are paying more attention to ingredient, especially protein and supplement. We are seeing growing interest in plant-based protein as well and self-medication trend. The health supplement market alone is worth over $5 billion. The beverage market that beverage also is a key trend. So the beverage market reached $10 billion in 2022, driven by coffee, soft drink, and functional drinks. Zero calorie and protein drinks are especially trending now in Korea. And number four, the last one, the 40s and 50s women have the purchasing power. Women in their 40s and 50s, especially housewives, are now the leading grocery buyer. They actively seek organic, high protein, and diverse food options. Okay, now let's shift our focus to Korea's retail environment. To begin, here's an overview of South Korea's total food market size and structure. In 2023, the market reached approximately 762 billion US dollar, continuing a steady growth trend over the past 5 years. Food distribution, including retail and wholesale, accounts for the largest share, with over $394 billion or 52% of the total. The food service follows at nearly $192 billion, and food manufacturing stands at $177 billion. Here's a breakdown of the Korea's food market by sector: retail, food service, and manufacturing. First, the retail segment continued to grow, driven largely by e-commerce. In 2024, for overall products, online surpassed 50% of the total retail sales for the first time. Online channel grew by 15%, while offline retail saw a 2% increase only, bringing overall retail market growth to 8%. Second, the food services sector reached $191.7 billion in 2023. Despite COVID-related challenges in 2021 and 2022, it showed a strong compound annual growth rate of 11% over the last 4 years. And finally, for food manufacturing, posted steady growth as well, with a annual growth rate of 12% between 2020 and 2023, demonstrating strong performance even though the pandemic. Together, these 3 pillars reflect a well-developed and expanding food economy across Korea. Korea's food retail landscape include a wide range of channels, both offline and online. For offline channels, hypermarket chains like E-Mart, Lotte Mart, Costco remain major players, especially for bulk and weekly grocery shopping. Department stores focus more on premium and imported products. Supermarket chains are common for neighborhood level shopping, and convenience stores open 24 hours are everywhere, playing an important role for single household and younger consumers. On the online side, online malls haven't grown rapidly. Consumers enjoy fast delivery, wide product selection, and easy price comparisons. We also have a quick commerce and food delivery app like Baemin, Yogiyo, Coupang Eats offer delivery within an hour or two. These services are especially popular in urban areas, reflecting a strong demand for the speed and convenience. While major offline store chains have attempted to build their own online platform, their success has been limited compared to Korea's leading online retailers like Coupang. Now that we've looked at the total retail sales by channel, let's focus specifically on how food sales have changed across the different retail formats in Korea. Overall, the share of food sales has stayed relatively stable, rising just slightly from 36% in 2020 to 38.4% in 2024. Offline formats like hypermarket, department store, convenience store, and supermarket have maintained fairly steady food sales percentage. That suggests offline channels still playing an important role in food retail. Meanwhile, the most significant growth has come from online food sales. Between 2020 and 2024, that share increased from 21.5% to 30%. This shift was driven by the impact of COVID-19 and a growing consumer preference for speed, convenient, and home delivery again. As a result, online channels are becoming more influential every year. We'll now take a closer look at Korean demand for imported food. One key reason Korea relies heavily on imported food is its low and steadily declining food self-sufficiency rate. Geography plays a big part in this. About 70% of Korea's land is mountainous, leaving only around 30% available agriculture. Because of this limited farmland, domestic food production has always been constrained, and Korea has depended on imports to meet demand. In addition, Korean consumers are becoming more globalized, increasingly looking for the diverse foreign food ingredient and international flavor. Next is Korea's food import trend. Over the last decade, imports have grown steadily from $33.4 billion in 2014 to nearly $51 billion in 2022. In 2024, Korea's total food import reached $44.7 billion, and the United States remained Korea's top food supplier, exporting $9.4 billion worth of food in 2024. About the U.S. Market share is about 21%. Other major suppliers include China, Australia, Brazil, and Vietnam. As shown in the graph, the U.S. share has remained strong and consistent, highlighting its ongoing importance in Korea's food supply chain. This chart shows Korea's food imports from the United States broken down by product category over the past 6 years. As shown here, consumer-oriented products constantly account for the largest share, exceeding 60% of the total import each year. Intermediate and basic products, which include ingredient and raw agriculture products, have remained relatively stable in value over the years. Forest products and seafood continue to see steady demand. As we've seen, the U.S. plays a central role in Korea's food import overall. Now let's take a closer look at the contribution of the Western U.S., specifically which is especially relevant for many of you here today. USATA regions account for 65% of the total U.S. food export to Korea, excluding livestock and fishery products. California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Utah constantly rank among the top 10 U.S. states for food export to Korea. Key export categories include grains, fresh produce, processed fruit, potatoes, seafood, beverage, health supplements, nuts, and a wide range of the processed food. One key factor is geography. The West Coast is geographically closer to Korea, which helps reduce the shipping time and logistic costs. That make Western U.S. products more competitive and attractive in the Korean market. This chart also highlights the top food export item from the Western U.S. to Korea based on value. As shown here, fresh produce such as orange, almond, lemon, pecan, blueberries remains one of the leading export categories. Grains and processed grains also account for a significant share. Other key categories include roasted coffee, beverage, functional and nutritional supplement, and food additive. In addition, confectionery items such as chocolates and processed snacks, as well as seafood products, including fish meat, continue to see steady demand in the Korean market. Okay, I will go into more detail on the floral and bakery sector in the following section.
Generated. But wait, because you're coming, Sha.
Yeah, thanks.
But wait, because I need 7 to release it.
This sector is showing fresh growth and growing interest from Korean buyers, especially in imported flowers and grains. In Korea, per capita flower consumption is still relatively low compared to the other OECD countries. Most demand comes from events such as wedding, funeral, and graduation and special day. But that's starting to change. Millennial and single-person households increasingly using flower for everyday enjoyment, like home decor and even stress relief through floral classes. Demand peak during kid seasons, the February, March for school graduation entrance season, and May for family events like Parents' Day, Teachers' Day. And December, sure for Christmas. And for wedding, usually spring and falls are the high season in Korea, but it is the year-round event. Meanwhile, online and mobile sales are growing fast in the floral sector as well. Also, delivery apps like Market Collie and Coupang now offer next-day flower deliveries. This chart shows a long-term trend in per capita spending on floriculture in Korea. As you can see, spending peaked in 2005 at almost like $21 per person, followed by a steady decline over the next 15 years. A slight recovery began after 2020 during or after COVID, with spending rising to $13.1 in 2023. This recent increase may reflect a shift in consumers' behavior, such as a growing interest in using flower for personal enjoyment. Still, the overall level is low compared to the other developed countries, indicating strong potential for future growth. Interestingly, even though overall flower use in Korea has declined over time, floriculture imports have grown sharply. As this chart shows, Korea's total import of floriculture products rose from about $29 million in 2000 to over $173 million in 2024. It's more than 6 times higher. The biggest driver of this growth is cauliflower, which increased from just $1.6 million to over $75 million during this period. Imports of live plants and flower bulb have also grown steadily. This slide shows Korea's top import sources for two floriculture categories. On the left, we have flower bulb, tubers, and roots. The Netherlands dominates this segment, accounting for more than 85% of the Korean market. The U.S. exported around $719,000 in 2024 as the eighth largest country. On the right side, the chart shows import on live plants. China is the leading exporter here, followed by Netherlands and Taiwan. The U.S. exported $292,000 in 2024 as the 13th largest. Let's move on to two other major floriculture products, cut flowers and ornamental greenery, including foliage. On the left, we see trend for cut flowers and cut flower buds. Total imports more than doubled, growing from $34 million in 2020 to $75 million in 2024. Colombia, China, and Vietnam dominate this market, all showing significant growth. The U.S. ranks the 13th with $170,000 export amount in 2024. While the volume is small than other countries, this also indicates the potential for entry, especially with the premium or specialty variety that can stand out. On the right chart, the story is different. In the categories of foliage and ornamental greenery, the U.S. ranked third in 2024. Export rose from $1 million in 2020 to peak of $1.4 million in 2022, and stayed relatively strong in 2023 and 2024. So while the U.S. presence in cut flower is limited for now, it has already built a solid foundation in foliage, and that could be served as a base to grow broader export in floriculture. This slide shows the overall distribution structure for floriculture in Korea, including both domestic and imported products. Local flowers are grown by domestic producers and typically sold through public or private wholesale market. From there, they move to retail traders, exporters, or online flower shop before reaching consumers. Imported flower enter the structure through importers who usually operate their own sales booths inside the major private wholesale market. These importers act key links, distributing directly to florists, retailers, and other businesses. This slide explains how imported floral products are distributed in Korea from arrival to final retail destination. Typically, flowers are shipped over the weekend and arrive at Incheon International Airport on Monday or Tuesday afternoon. After customs clearance later that day, they are delivered directly to the Gangnam Express Terminal Market in Seoul. This market is the Korea's largest private wholesale flower market, housing around 160 wholesale shops. It operates overnight from midnight to noon and serves as the main gateway for flower distribution nationwide. Once sold, the flowers are repackaged and delivered via overnight trucks to local florists and retail stores in cities across the country. For U.S. exporters, understanding this timeline and flow is essential, not only for the preserving product freshness, but also for selecting reliable local partners who are integrated into this fast-moving system. To successfully export the floriculture products to Korea, both the Korean importers and the U.S. exporter must follow the specific set of steps and prepare key documents. On the Korean side, the importer must submit like an import notification and application for plant inspection. Meanwhile, the U.S. exporter is responsible for providing a phytosanitary certificate. This certificate is mandatory for all live floral products and must be issued by a certified plant authority such as USDA APs. In addition, standard trade documents are required for customs clearance and need to be provided by the U.S. exporters. All floriculture products arriving in Korea are subject to plant quarantine inspection, and this process must be initiated by the Korean importers. So for U.S. exporters, it's essential to work closely with your Korean partners and make sure everything is properly prepared. And if you have a detailed product specific question, it's always best to consult with your local USDA office. They can guide you on what's allowed, what's restricted, and how to prepare all necessary documentation to avoid the delay. Okay, this is all for the floriculture market, and now let's shift our focus to the baked goods sector. In this section, we'll explore the growing opportunities for the U.S. bakery and dessert ingredient in Korea. This slide shows Korea's bakery product imports. As you can see, Korea's total bakery imports have been growing steadily over the past 5 years, and the country imported $472 million in 2023. The top exporters include China, Malaysia, and the United States, with the U.S. ranking third in 2023 at $56 million. Here's a breakdown of the Korea's retail baked goods market by category comparing 2018 and 2023. Over the past 5 years, the market has grown from $3.2 billion to $3.8 billion. The top 3 categories remained unchanged, like cake, bread, and pastry. And one notable trend is the rise of the frozen baked goods, which expanded from about $40 million to over $56 million. This slide shows how dessert trends in Korea can change very quickly. Some items like tanghul, you may know this candy. It's a candied fruit on a stick. Went viral almost overnight, then disappeared just as fast. Others like macaron, donuts, and bagel have shown lasting popularity. More recently, Dubai chocolate has started to gain attention, and actually it has sparked strong interest for its main ingredient by Korean importers, especially in US pistachios, and I also get many inquiries about the US pistachios. So even though trends shift quickly, the dessert cafe market overall remains solid. According to the Korean government agency, the market size surpassed $10 billion in 2022. This chart shows the market share of different retail channels for bakery goods in Korea. As you can see, hypermarket chains dominated the market in both 2020 and 2021, holding over 52% share. Bakery shops followed with around 30% of the market share, while online and delivery service grew. This growth reflects the growing influence of the e-commerce and quick commerce as well. You are seeing a rise in premium bakery and dessert brand selling via e-commerce platform like Market Curly or quick delivery app, especially post-COVID. Just like in the US, hypermarkets, convenience stores, and supermarkets in Korea typically carry mass market, low-priced bakery items. On the other hand, premium artisanal baked goods, products with higher quality and unique appeal, are mainly sold through the specialty bakery shops. So let's take a quick look at 4 key consumer trends shaping Korea's bakery and dessert market. First, There is a growing interest in new and diverse ingredients. Popular flavors like fig, lemon, Earl Grey, black sesame, and cream cheese are becoming more common. Consumers are especially drawn to premium desserts like macaron, cannoli, financier, which offer both novelty and indulgence. Second, the frozen dough products are gaining traction, particularly for home baking. Convenient and high-quality items like frozen waffles, pastries, and egg tarts are leading this trend. Third, health-conscious choices are expanding. We are seeing more items made with oatmeal powders or chickpea flours as alternative to traditional wheat flour. Refined sugar is being replaced with natural or low-calorie sweeteners, and consumers are favoring low-carb and high-protein baked goods. Lastly, social media is shaping a new kind of dessert culture like other countries. Instagrammable desserts are going viral online and driving real purchasing decisions. Visual appeal is no longer optional, it's become a key part of the product experience. Let's now take a look at some U.S. ingredients with strong potential in Korea bakery and dessert sector. Korean buyers are actively sourcing ingredients from the U.S., especially in these 5 categories like dairy ingredient, nuts and dried fruits, wheat and specialty wheat and grains, and flavoring and bakery mix, and other trending ingredients such as like a low GI sweetener or plant-based oil. Okay, now to wrap up, I will briefly highlight the 2025 Korea-focused activities that support Osaka suppliers in navigating the market. Before we go, in summary, Korean consumers are actively looking for 3 things: convenience, health and wellness, and diverse flavor. These broad needs translate into demand for a wide variety of U.S. products, from frozen food, dairy, to sauce, grains, and even floriculture. With that in mind, let me now introduce some of the activities we are planning for the Korean market to help Osaka suppliers tap into this opportunity. I want to briefly introduce the 3 upcoming programs designed to help you successfully enter the Korean market. First, we have 2 inbound missions focused on floriculture and bakery ingredients. From July 28 to August 1, we are organizing a floriculture inbound mission to Alaska and Hawaii. Then in September, we'll host a Korea ingredient inbound mission in Washington and the International Baking Industry Expo. These programs provide a valuable opportunity to meet with top Korean importers in each sector, gain in-depth insight on market trend and logistics, and most importantly, explore practical ways to expand your business in Korea's rapidly growing market. If you are interested, please keep an eye on the Osaka website for registration details. Details will be coming soon. We also have one outbound trade mission to Korea coming up in November, open to all Osaka companies offering consumer-oriented food and food ingredient products. This program featured a full day of pre-arranged one-on-one business meetings with qualified Korean buyers, along with market briefing and retail visit designed to deepen your understanding of Korean consumers' trends and the competitive landscape. Registration is now open on the Osaka website, so don't miss this opportunity to connect with a new partner and explore a broad range of distribution channels in Korea. If you have any question about these programs, please contact Osaka or state project managers or myself. Okay, thank you all for your attention and interest, and I hope this presentation has given you valuable insight into the Korean market and the exciting opportunities ahead. Now, I'd like to turn over to Nilda. Nilda?
Yes, thank you, Haiwan. Appreciate that information.
Nelda,
And again, as a reminder, if you've got any questions or comments, if you'd like to type them in the chat, if you haven't already, and we'll address those shortly. So we do have some upcoming events, upcoming WSATA events. We have the Seoul Food and Hotel Show that's June 9th through the 13th, 2025. We also have the Alaska and Hawaii Floriculture inbound mission, as Haiwan just mentioned, and that'll be in July of 2025. We have the Korean ingredient inbound mission, September. That registration will be forthcoming. So if you look on our WSATA website for the information, and then the Korea consumer oriented outbound mission as well to Seoul and Busan, which will be in November. We do have some open registrations right now. Alicia, you may have to help me because those are kind of small.
sorry. The Korea Consumer Oriented Outbound Mission to Seoul and Busan, the deadline's May 31st.
Yes.
Central and South America Consumer Oriented Outbound Mission, deadline is June 1st. China Pet Food International Fair Outbound Mission, the deadline is June 30th. And the Latin America Produce Inbound to Idaho, Nevada is due August 4th.
Yes, so these are currently open on the WSATA website. So any companies are interested in pursuing some of these opportunities, we would encourage you to do so at this time. And I'd also like to mention to our companies, if there's any import-export data information that you could utilize, type your email in the chat. I could follow up with you directly, and I'm able to access information through Euromonitor International specific to your company products and be able to provide you some detailed data regarding Korea or any country that you would be interested in. Just wanted to let you know. And at this time, if anybody has any questions, you can either use the raise hand key or we can address the ones that are in the chat.
I will take the opportunity to, I see there's a hand raised, but to respond to Jacqueline's question. Jacqueline, we do offer one-on-one consultations after these seminars, and you'll get a link to sign up. We have them next week. If you sign up for that, we can come prepared and look up the requirements specifically for refrigerated protein bars. So that's a good opportunity to kind of dive a little deeper into the requirements specifically for your products if you'd like. When it comes to Korea, the answer is probably yes, that more is required, but we'd want to confirm for you.
Okay, we had some raised hands.
I'll let you moderate that, Nelda.
Okay. A question on if we help with, okay, is it?
Just wanted to know if there's a market for fresh juice.
Are you live?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Is there a market for fresh juice?
I'll defer to Haiwan on that response.
Yes.
For fresh juice, we usually import the ingredient for fresh fruits and make the juice in Korea. But for the shelf life, the buyers they prefer to have frozen fresh juice import for 2 years shelf life.
So you're interested in frozen fresh juice.
Yes,
Not fresh, okay.
yeah, because of the shelf life, yeah, buyers are more prefer to import the
Right.
frozen
So
fresh juice.
So
Right.
send the fresh juice frozen,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay.
thank you.
There was a question about WUSADA helping with label changes for language. Nelda, do you want to respond to that?
I will have to follow up to see, I can follow up on that.
Do you mean, Jacqueline, with translation, like language translation, or just understanding any of the requirements?
Yes, I was just wondering about the language translation mostly.
Jacqueline, I can email you tomorrow.
Okay.
From
Okay,
Piyush,
Kyo, I was told that Korea protects its citrus farmers, so tariffs on citrus juice is high. Any thoughts on that?
let me check on the tariff, but I think we import actually like orange and lemons during the season for the Korean citrus. So it's gonna be okay, but I think I need to check and I'll let you know, Kyosh, later. Okay,
how
I
long
will
it,
check. Yeah.
it was the gentleman working with USDA FAS when I was there.
Okay, I will check on this.
Any other questions or comments that we can try to address?
Hello. I have one quick question. There is a slide that I would like to see again. It is under blooming business opportunities for floriculture. It's number 8 on that list.
Okay. Number 8.
Yes. So it was the section, I think 4, blooming business opportunities in floriculture. And so it was after the distribution flow of imported floral products in South Korea, and that would be number 7. So I wanted to see the one after that, please.
This one? Or this one?
I'm right now, I'm just seeing the thank you screen.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's on me.
Yeah, I think I didn't share the screen.
Oh, it's no trouble.
Okay, this one, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And thank you again for the presentation.
Okay. That's all?
Oh, yes, that's all for me. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, Bridget, you commented information on additives and is it food colors?
For a specific product,
Yes,
Bridget?
food colors, additive that goes into ingredients. Yeah.
Okay. And just as a reminder to everyone participating as well, I will send out a copy of the link to today's video and presentation slides. I will also send the link to our survey as well as the one-on-one consultation link that will also be available. So y'all will receive that tomorrow. Alicia, any other?
I don't have anything else. Yeah, Bridget, we could follow up with any specific products for colors and additives and provide due resources. Nelda, you may have access to that too, so we could follow up together on the response.
Because I think it's a big restriction in Korea.
It is, yeah, and depending on the products, right?
Yeah,
yeah, it would fall under their similar to the MRLs and food safety regulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and I'll send you an email tomorrow, Bridget, to follow up and get more specifics and see how we can help.